He spent years as a prolific commentator before launching his Senate campaign, and we had previously covered on this show that he deleted a lot of tweets about defund the police. Now, what we have found now is more than 100 of his YouTube videos on his YouTube channel that appear to have been made private. These are comments from the last 4 years, with one of these videos posted as recently as 2 years ago. Now, you did mention that 4th of July video. You can see the taken down video right there from July 2024. El-Sayed cited air pollution from Detroit, fireworks, chemicals used in fireworks, PTSD among veterans, and risk to children and pets. And he asked if Americans could find another way to celebrate. Another September 2022 video that we found, El-Sayed also blasted Republicans for focusing on the southern border, calling it an issue they, quote, love to flog, adding in, quote, it doesn't even make the top 5 among issues that people in the United States actually care about that affect their lives.
The transatlantic slave trade, where, you know, folks who, quote, founded this country on the backs of native folks that they destroyed, then captured people, enslaved them, and had them work their fields because they thought it was their right, right? And all of this, like a lot of these narratives, you kind of see echoed in the ethos of football.
Okay, that was CNN's Alex Kaczynski uncovering the videos that Democrat communist Abdul El-Sayed tried to bury and hide as he's now trying to run for the Senate out of Michigan. He tried to hide more than 100 online videos with his radical views, saying things like cancel July 4th fireworks. The NFL had links to slavery, toxic masculinity. Plus, he slammed Republicans for trying to stop Biden's open borders that led to a lethal crime wave. El-Sayed also reportedly deleted social media posts saying things like defund the police. Let's bring back to the show from House Judiciary, California Congressman Darrell Issa. What do you make of all this? You know, how is this going to play in the fall when football starts right around the midterms? Your colleague, Brandon Gill, says, is there anything about America that does not make Democrat communists like El-Sayed extremely angry? What do you think?
Well, Liz, thanks for having me on, and thanks for bringing up the point that there doesn't seem to be anything that is red, white, and blue that doesn't make them angry, doesn't want them to take it down, whether it's the blue of the police or something as all-American as American football. You know, they probably are against the hot dog, too, for that matter. But the fact is that we are having a referendum on which direction does America go. Does it go to the communist far left by these major candidates and the people that support them? Or does it remain in a center where America can be prosperous, where we can take advantage of the new technologies to make America more competitive and bring American jobs back to our shores, something that President Trump is working on every day?
You know, you've been outspoken about this, too, Congressman. El-Sayed campaigned with his surrogate, Hassan Piker, who claimed America deserved 9/11 right as the 25th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up. Nearly 3,000 innocent people murdered. Let's watch Jill Biden's former press secretary, Michael LaRosa, go after El-Sayed for that. Watch.
I think El-Sayed should fly to New York City and look every family member of somebody who jumped out of a window because the alternative was worse. I think he should look them in the eye and tell them. I'd like him to wipe the grin off his face when he's talking about it, too. He, you know, sort of casually dismissed the question as if it was something illegitimate, as if he's not seeking the support of extremists who say and celebrate terrorism in Manhattan. Can't. Some things transcend party loyalty. And I'm just surprised that there's not more people who won't stand up to this guy or this kind of candidate.
What do you say, sir?
He's made our campaign ad for why he's too dangerous to allow to have the power in Washington that he seeks.
All right. Congressman Darrell Issa from House Judiciary, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Liz.